Sometimes awakening doesn't arrive as a light and ease. It shows up as fatigue, confusion, emotional waves that crash through the body like storm tides. And, and listeners, this question comes to my mind like, what if those moments weren't breakdowns, but they are initiations? Now, in an age where we talk about ascension, expansion, and cosmic upgrades, it's easy to forget the most profound portal to awakening. It isn't up there in the stars, listeners. It's right here under our skin. Today, on this episode of the Cosmic Confluence podcast with your host Sana, we explore how the body itself becomes a sacred map for sovereignty. My guest, Loren Cellentani, embodiment mentor, sacred visibility guide, and also host of the Sovereign Self show, knows this journey intimately. From burnout to rebirth, she teaches how to meet cosmic transformation not by escaping the body, but by coming home to it. So, let's all talk about what it really means to lead from the body, listeners, and how to stay grounded when the universe decides to shake everything awake. Loren, welcome to Cosmic Confluence, and I'm really, really, really excited for this conversation.
Oh my goodness, just that intro. I got me all jazzed up. I'm so excited too. Thank you for having me, Sana.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Loren. And I absolutely love the idea because it kind of goes against what, traditionally we have seen. Like until now, we have been under this impression that only the spiritual enlightenment can only be achieved by a few handful of, people out there, gurus or sometimes, God men or someone who is very spiritually already gifted. But I think it's with every one of us, and it doesn't have to be like, we have to connect deeply with the cosmos. The cosmos is within us. And I think that's the idea which I'm very, very sure will connect with all of our listeners as well.
Oh my goodness, I know. And I think, so many of us now are into the spirituality, into ascension process. Maybe because lifetimes before we've studied that. But this lifetime, I see that through line where we have these cosmic gifts, whatever they are, these energetic gifts, these spiritual gifts that are awakening, the intuition. But outside of those gifts, I see these light workers, and myself included, physically, energetically, relationships, all these other things in our lives come back to our body, feel like they're out of control. So our bodies are really here guiding us to that enlightenment. But I think from my understanding right now, this is the first time in history where we're using our bodies for ascension. We aren't leaving the bodies to ascend. And I think that's what we all really are tuning into right now and seeing the world kind of shifting this chaoticness in order to shift into embodiment as a whole of humanity.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense, Loren. Okay, now when you speak about cosmic upgrades, now it can sound abstract to many of us. In fact, to me as well. I would love to know from you, Loren, how do you personally define what these upgrades are or what they feel like emotionally, relationally, or physically?
Oh my goodness. I think, it's different for everybody, but I would say, I'm sure our listeners identify as empaths, very sensitive, intuitive, and so we feel a lot. And these cosmic upgrades, I feel like, are coming in hotter and stronger. People talk about astrology, but also the solar flares, which are where the sun literally shoots energy at us, awakening ourselves and our body. And sometimes I think the best way to describe this, because you're right, cosmic downloads, ascension, all these words, how can we make it practical? How can we break this down so we can understand this so simply? Well, when we walk into a dark room or a cave and we turn on a flashlight, where does that darkness go? It has to, whatever was in the dark has to come to the light. So, same with these downloads, upgrades, whatever you want to call them, especially as sensitive souls, all of the unresolved stuff, the triggers, the emotions, physical symptoms like fatigue, even skin issues like acne or rashes, aches and pains, headaches, digestive issues, womb issues. That's been part of my journey, is the feminine energy awakening. Because what's happening, it's not happening to you. You're not a victim to these things, whether it is something physical, emotional, or relational. It's showing you places that need to come to the light. So when a high vibration comes into our field or our bodies, everything that's not in alignment, everything that's lower vibration, meaning the dark, has to come up. And when it comes up to be seen, it can manifest. And these things, and I think the biggest thing I really see are, fatigue or tiredness, the aches and pains. I see a lot of people just feeling like, wow, I don't, what's going on? And usually it's these cosmic upgrades coming in and really clearing us out at an energetic level, but a cellular level. So the biggest thing there is just to be patient with yourself, to allow to drink a lot of water, to get into nature and ground, not to really push through, because your body is going to move energy in the way of least resistance. And a lot of the times it is physical. And you don't, you can support your body in very simple, easy ways, but it's doing the work for you, essentially. So I think hopefully that paints a picture for people who are wondering, what's going on? Why do I feel just kind of, I don't know, not like myself at the moment?
Yeah. No, I think it definitely makes sense, because a lot of people, we are chasing transcendence while our bodies are begging for rest. Because there's this, I shouldn't say misconception, but it's a notion that you always have to keep on moving and moving and moving. And it's like we're trying to ascend when what's really needed is to ground deeper into our humanness, like that pause or stillness. I was having this conversation around stillness a few days back, and I think people have this, very wrong idea that, if you are in stillness, that means you are just stopping everything. Everything is going to get out of your control. But that's not the case at all.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. And what it just made me think of is, I think it's a quote from a book, which I love. It's a manifestation book called Dollars Flow Easily to Me by Richard Dotz. He describes this beautiful picture of a field of flowers, your favorite flower you can imagine. The flowers blossoming as far as you can see, and you're in the middle of this. It smells beautiful. The weather is great. The sun is shining. We are always in the middle of that field. We just have to open our eyes and realize we're already there. This stream of well-being, this wholeness, because I think this is also maybe in addition to what you were saying about slowing down and allowing. We don't need to ascend. We don't need to keep healing. That in and of itself is a trap, is a loop, it's a pattern to keep us small and not living our full potential. But when we slow down, when we're present, and we realize we're always already in the middle of that field, we are whole right now. Doesn't mean life's perfect. Doesn't mean, everything's going the way you think it should. Yeah. But it shifts your energy to allow the cooperative components, the cosmic influence, if you will, to behind the scenes work everything out perfectly. It's a perspective shift. And for me, that really is why sovereignty is such a big theme in my life, in my podcast, and the work that I do, is because it's not about doing more. Yes, we show up, we're recording this beautiful podcast, but it's the energy in which we live, in which we are embodying, that is the difference.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, Loren. And you describe the body as a sacred portal. I love that. It's a powerful metaphor, actually. But then, it can also sound inaccessible for someone, who's just trying to survive their triggers, could be emotional or physical triggers. Um, how does one begin to relate to the body as, something holy when it has been kind of the center or site of so much pain?
What a beautiful question. And I think that pain and that those triggers are actually what are leading you towards your wholeness, towards your divinity. And that was so much of my story. And the phrase came to me before I started my podcast many years ago. Your body is not in the way, it's leading the way. So all those physical triggers, mental, emotional, anything, that thing, we all have at least one of those things in our lives and our bodies, are actually showing you that there is a gift. Because this is a perspective shift. Because humans, I've noticed, we don't tend to change or do things differently unless there's some sort of a contrast or pain or negativity. We want the change. So if we were just in this complete connection with the divine all the time, I wouldn't want to change. I want to keep, I would want to keep right there. So this contrast, whether it's physical or emotional, is always there to help us expand, to grow, to learn, to do things different. And I understand, and I have so much compassion for people with the physical symptoms that are just so persistent and so loud, or even emotional, like anxiety. At a point, I had multiple panic attacks a day. I understand how all-consuming something like that can be. And it's not about changing overnight. What it's always, always, always about in the moment is feeling where. So all of the triggers, all of the emotions, the physical sensations, those are guiding you back to the present moment, to your divinity. As we were talking about a few moments ago, the slowing down, the being present, remembering that we already are whole. Yes, that's a great state to be in, but all of these things in our lives, in our bodies, are actually guiding us, reminding us that we are already whole. And I know when you have something in your life, in your body, whether it is a physical illness or symptom, or even something like anxiety, emotional, or depression, I have so much compassion for you and your experience, because I've been there multiple times, whether it was physical, like precancerous diagnosis, or I've had multiple panic attacks a day.
Wow.
Over months and months. So I understand how something like that can be so all-consuming. But sometimes, and I say this with all my heart and love, that's what it takes to get you to look at yourself differently, to look at your life, how you are thinking, feeling, relating, to change your perspective, to remember that you already are whole. And at the beginning, when you're in the middle of it, you might not see that. You feel like everything is happening to you. But the small things, the big things, everything is actually happening for you to do things different, to maybe try a meditation practice consistently. Maybe you've dipped your toes in and out, but this is the time where you're like, okay, this is where the rubber hits the road. This is calling me to be a greater version of myself. How would wholeness show up right now? That's a beautiful way to start, especially when things do feel overwhelming, when you're trying so hard to fix or heal or solve a problem. We can't see the solution clearly. So it takes us to raise our vibrations, to feel where we're at, to be honest where we're at. And little by little, you can start to raise that vibration, and you see the breadcrumbs perfectly that led you to that realization, that new manifestation. But most importantly, feeling better, feeling more like you, and remembering that you are already whole.
I really, really love that. And I think healing, it isn't like, removing or eradicating the discomfort in there, but it's like, befriending it And then also, if we physically look at it, it's like befriending with your body, with your nervous system. And I think it definitely makes spirituality less about escaping the human experience and more about fully inhabiting it.
Yes, and that's such a beautiful way to say that. And I think that could be our whole episode here summed up. With
Then, uh, Lauren, so let's say, if I would like to get started with this, yeah, I'm feeling unsafe in the body, and I want to learn it. I want to start learning to trust it again. Is there any somatic practice that you recommend that would help me bridge that gap?
Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for asking this. And this is something so simple you guys can take away and do right after or during this episode. So I like to look at it in three parts of this system. And there's numerous ways to do each of these. First is to activate, really to shake up your energy, to get out of your head and into your body. And there's so much research because I know you guys love bridging that gap here between science and spirituality about entering the trance state, and that how cultures throughout antiquity, through tribal dancing and movements, would connect spiritually with their ancestors and with the divine. Well, you can do that right here. And it's not something difficult. You don't need a huge ritual or 3 hours every morning. I literally get up, turn on my favorite playlist in the morning, and I just spend at least a minute, maybe a song, just jumping. And this is a very simple somatic exercise that you can do. You see a lot of people also jumping on little trampolines or rebounding. You can do that too. But if you don't have one, you don't need to. Just simple shaking and jumping, however it looks in your body that day, is perfect. And what you're doing is getting out of your head. You're becoming more present, entering into that trance-like state. But also at a physical level, you're really waking up your fascia. You're getting your energy moving, and you just feel a lot better. So that's the first step, I would say, shaking, moving your body, jumping to activate. The second step is alchemization. Alchemization is turning something from one state into another state, typically some other metal into gold. And really, once you're in that trance state, for me, it's really just being present after shaking, moving my body. I continue to just move my body and move it from the state of whatever energy is present that day, whether it is anger or it might be sadness or anxiety. Allow your body to express itself however you are truly feeling, without the story, without the justification, meaning, well, if this person just was nicer to me, or if I just had more followers online, or if I had more money in my bank account, fill in the blank. You solely tune into how you feel and move as that energy. And you'll start to slow. It doesn't take much time. It may be a minute again. And you'll start to feel your energy shifting. And you'll start to realize, oh, I feel lighter. I feel more empowered. I feel whole. And through this whole process, you can talk to yourself. You can ask yourself questions. But there's this natural change of state of energy that happens here, which will allow your body to fully feel and express itself. I think it's something we naturally do. Sometimes we just are too scared to be present and feel. And the last part or stage is allowing. So whether it is through a meditation, I just like to turn on like a white noise, whether it's on YouTube, go search, for fan noise or running water, and just tune into that. And that's what we do on the other side of things. First, we turn into our trance state through moving our body. This, we're tuning into shifting our brainwave state to a similar trance-like state, but from receiving, listening, the downloads, connecting to that divinity that's always here. I see so many people, especially driven people, who are spiritual, who are empaths. We want to do it all. And we can, but we forget that we are part of the divine. We're not just one drop in the ocean. We're the entire ocean, one drop. That's what Rumi said. So allowing the divine to come through and co-create with you, which is the best business partner, healing partner you could have out there, that your mind, when you're so trying to fix things from this lower vibrational state, can't see the solution. God, the divine, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, is always here, always wanting to support you. And when our ego, our monkey minds can get out of the way and just listen and allow, everything can come through, especially for you.
Oh, wow. That is actually, I mean, all the 3 steps, they're so fascinating, Loren. I mean, the, the most beautiful part here is, it embodies all the forms of our self here. There's physical, there's emotional, there's spiritual. And then there is the co-creation, as you mentioned, because, and I keep on reiterating in every of the conversation, this is something that I've learned, that healing is such a beautiful way of connecting with, each other. Like, it happens the best in community. And this co-creation, this oneness, I think that is something we so need right now, so much need right now.
Yes, and that's what you said it so beautifully. What I was trying to say earlier is all of these emotions and physical things or relational things that are happening in your life that you don't really want to be there are actually calling you. That's the divine. That's your higher self asking for a deeper connection, for this communion, this co-creation with spirit.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, Loren, in the interest of time, I know that we have reached the time limit, but I think this question is so. I think this is necessary to talk about. Do you think that can cosmic language sometimes obscure a deeper psychological or societal issues that we actually need to face in the here and now?
Mm-hmm. I think so, because some of we can go out there, really far out there, whether it is through your body or outer body experience, and you can have these downloads, connect the source, your spirit guides, and so while you're there in that very high state of vibration, you might understand everything, but when you come back and in your body, sometimes things are lost in translation, and like you said, the language, the how do we apply this to everyday life? Because I love all those things. I love hearing about out of body experiences, Kundalini awakenings. Oh my gosh, I love not only hearing about them but experiencing them. But why does it matter? How can we apply that into being human? And I think that's what, the work that you do beautifully on this show, and I think that's why we connect so well, is so what? Asking yourself, so what? How can these practical things come into the 3D everyday life? And I think it comes back to your body. Comes back to, like I said earlier, just feeling whatever's coming through you without the story, without the cosmic wording and downloads, and then listening from a state of this embodiment. How can you translate? And really, to be honest, it's just really about focusing on your journey and about your own growth and feeling better, choosing that sovereignty, choosing the better feeling thought every single moment. And we don't have to put on airy-fairy cosmic language, which I love, but it's really just simple as choosing to feel better. That's the greatest gift you can give yourself, but to all of humanity.
Exactly. And I think that we don't have to follow on anyone's footsteps, but because our journeys, they are unique, but then the cause or the kind of the alignment can be same. The journeys can be unique, but the alignment is same. So I think this is such a grounded take, because conversations about awakening, they stay connected to the real human experience. And I think it also reminds all of us that embodiment or anything around this, is not like about just floating away or going away. It's about coming closer to truth.
Mm. Yes, yes, yes. And I think, I've experienced all signs of that through my spiritual journey and growth journey of being in communities with so-called gurus, you know, and I'm sure people listening can relate. It's shown me, my own path towards sovereignty. And from day one, I used to do health coaching, and now it's changed over the past 10 years. It's always, always, always been here are the foundational truths. You get to make it your own. I'm not here to tell you what to do by any means whatsoever. This is about your own sovereignty and your own journey, knowing that you are already whole and that you are God in 3D manifest form. So who do you want to be? What do you want to create?
Exactly. And Lauren, if listeners, they would like to get in touch with you, and also, they would like to listen to your podcast and connect with you for more, enlightening on this, path, what would be the best way?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm on all podcast platforms, Sovereign Self Show. I also love doing YouTube videos, so all of it's on YouTube. I mainly hang out on Instagram at Loren Cellentani, and everything I'm sure will be in the show notes.
Yep.
But I love talking all of these things on the podcast, and the work that I do is really help spiritual, empathic entrepreneurs who are here to make a massive impact, but also massive income, really step into their own visibility in the world so they can share those beautiful gifts that they are meant to this lifetime.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, listeners, I'll make sure to have all these links in the show notes. So just go and check out Lauren's podcast and listen to Sovereign Surge Show. You can find it on all the streaming platforms. And also, I think as we navigate these cosmic shifts, collectively and personally as well, I hope that we return to the body not as a burden, but as the bridge between heaven and earth. And Lauren, thank you so much for such a beautiful, beautiful conversation about leadership, visibility, spirituality, all happening in the sacred space, the body. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
So listeners, thank you so much for tuning into Cosmic Confluence. Until next time, stay grounded in your glow and keep tuning into Cosmic Confluence. And this is your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you.